Hey, it's Rex on the road, and we found a wine guy here in Napa.
Yeah, imagine.
Yeah, introduce yourself.
My name is Judd Wallenbrock. I am a seasoned veteran of the wine industry, 42 years in the wine industry.
Wow.
Currently, we'll call it retirement.
Okay, retirement's a good thing. Now tell everybody who might know wine in Napa where you most recently were in your position.
Yeah, most recently I was the president and CEO of Mondavi and family. Most people would know that from their flagship winery, Charles Krug.
Right.
But prior to that, I was with actually the other side of the family back in the 90s through 92 through 01. I was with Robert Mondavi Family Wines. I've been over in Sonoma. I was the president of Michel Schlumberger.
Okay.
I was with the Loach Vineyards. I started my own winery, a lot of different things.
Oh, wow. So you've been all around the wine business. The question that comes to mind is the Mondavi family has such a big identity, a big name, the first family of wine I kind of think of.
That's what I call them.
What makes the way the Mondavis on both sides of the family make wine, what makes them different than, say, another winery in the Napa Valley?
Right. Well, I think first and foremost, they're a family. I think that's a really important distinction. You know, they are really the people that are the first family of California wine, of American wine. Both sides of the family are people that are engaged not just in the love of wine. We all love wine, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But you have to love the wine business. And that's a different set of circumstances. And these are two families that are really impassioned industry, which means that it takes them to a full level. You know, it's not just a love of wine. We all love wine. But it's another thing to love the wine
Now,
business.
the other thing I think of when I think of winemakers, when I think of wineries, wine companies, is it's really three-pronged. You've got the winemaking itself, the growing, you've got the marketing, you've got sales. It's really multi-pronged, right?
Exactly, and there's very few industries that are like that.
Right.
You know, think about like automobiles. You don't create the steel. You're not making the rubber for the
Right,
tires.
right.
You know, you're really assembling things. Well, here in the wine industry, we grow it from the ground up. We produce the wine, we craft the wine out of it from the grapes, and then we bottle it, and then we have to go out in the market and sell it. It's a little bit like art, right? So you're actually making a painting, not creating the paints, but you are making the art, and now you're going out and selling it, and that's a unique position.
Yeah, and I mean, making the wine can be totally different than marketing it, right, or selling it, right?
Absolutely, it is, yeah.
So it takes a lot of different skill sets, really, to be a successful winery.
Right, I think the biggest issue there is and we'll use the term marketing exactly as it should be used, which is to create pull, to create demand,
right?
You know, create sustainable demand, and that's one of the things that's probably the biggest challenge for the wine industry.
Right.
We've got a plethora of brands out there, right?
Right. Yeah.
But how do you create the demand? How do you get the consumer, Joe consumer or Sally consumer, to say, I want to buy that brand?
Right. I want to buy that bottle of wine, not just any wine.
Right.
And I mean, I think that really comes into play with social media these days. A lot of wineries are just finally starting to step up to the plate and do some digital social media activity, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. We're an industry that has been historically really tied to the physical asset, right? But if you're in sort of consumer packaged goods, you don't create you don't buy a big building and then start making something and then hope you sell it.
Right.
You actually you invest in the brand to justify the asset. In the wine industry, what we do is we invest in an asset and then hope to build a brand. It's all backwards, right?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
And so now you're really talking about this high asset, heavy amount of cash that's needed to be out there, and at the end of the day, you don't have a whole lot of money to actually promote your brand. And to me, that's kind of backwards.
Yeah.
We really need to be promoting the brand, and social is the way to do it.
Right.
Anything digital right now, because why? Look what we're doing. We're filming this on an iPhone, and this is how we all exist right now. This is how we communicate, and rarely by talking on it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, video's the hottest marketing thing going.
Text,
right?
You know, just the internet in general.
Yeah. Podcasts, all that world.
Insta.
Yeah. And the question I got for you, because I mean, you've been.
Should I do a TikTok dance right now?
I think we can. We can break into a TikTok dance. It's okay. The question I have for you is: Napa Valley, Sonoma County are kind of the premier wine destinations in the U.S.
Yeah.
How do they stay at the top of the wine game? What do they need to do to stay relevant?
Yeah, I think it's all about positioning. So any good company, I think what you do is you really start with a great vision, and that vision is reinforced through positioning, and the positioning is reinforced through the marketing mix: price, product, package, promotion, place. And you really are at the center of the universe of wine in America, at least with Napa and Sonoma.
Right.
So they have done a really good job of positioning themselves as the lead, and particularly Napa has really come back and said, look, this is the center of the universe for Cabernet.
Right.
And they've premiumized, right? And a lot of people are thinking to themselves, well, gosh, it's too expensive to be in Napa.
Sure.
But that is the choice that Napa has made. And that, as we like to say, that horse left the barn a long time ago.
Right.
It's the same with the restaurants. It's the same with the hotels.
Sure.
You have other choices, and we need to have choices. But when you come to Napa, you're going to go to an elite level. And I think it's the same way with Sonoma, particularly when it comes to Russian River and you're talking about Pinot Noir.
Right, exactly. And so, and the thing I've noticed in the Napa Valley is you're seeing luxurious experiences continue to escalate.
Exactly.
There was somebody that was doing $1,000 wine tasting.
Heights is doing $1,000 wine tasting. Yeah.
And then you had a hotel, I heard, that was like $1,300 a night.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah.
No, they're more than that now. Yeah, they're up at a couple thousand a night and things like that. The average in Napa Valley, if you take everything from the Best Western all the way through, the average in Napa Valley is over $430 a night right now.
Woo!
Second place is in the high 200s, and that's over in Sonoma.
Okay.
So that gives you an indication of how things have really escalated.
And so it's even more important for the Napa Valley and Sonoma to market themselves as a wine destination.
Absolutely, yeah. And it is, and it's the full. This goes back to the Robert Mondavi days. Robert was really the guy. I don't know if you know this or not, but he opened up he left Charles Krug in 1965. 66, he started Robert Mondavi Winery, opened up in 68. It was the first winery to be opened in California since Prohibition, since 1933.
Wow.
So you think about how powerful Prohibition was. He really was the new era of American wine, right?
Right.
And it opened up the floodgates for all these other wineries that came afterwards. But he preached wine is a part of the good life, and wine, food, and the arts.
Right.
And so that's when you come to Napa and when you come to Sonoma, you're really coming here to experience wine, food, and the arts.
Right. I was going to say that's still with us.
It's the good life.
Yeah. It's the good life. And, just amazing how Napa Valley continues to grow, continues to be at the top of the wine game. Right?
Absolutely, Yeah, and it's a blast. Now, is it going to be sustainable? I think it will be, frankly, because there's always a niche.
Right.
But we do, as an industry, we have to be very conscious of the fact that you and I, we're of a certain age that is a large population of boomers that are kind of aging out to a certain degree. What about the next generation?
Right.
How are we going to be able to talk to them? How are we going to culturally get people to be constantly engaged with wine? And that's, I think, the big challenge that's out there.
Well, I think that's why social media is so important for the wineries to engage a younger audience and kind of educate and inform them about wine and make it a fun experience.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And, think about the culture in the United States. We still have a huge population that doesn't drink at all, right? It's very different from a lot of the rest of the world. You go to France, you go to Italy, you go to Germany, you go to Spain, you go to Portugal. These are countries that they drink wine as part of their life. It's part of their culture. It's not a stigma. It's actually just part of their everyday life, and therefore their consumption is significantly higher than ours.
Right.
How do we at least get an approach where it's okay to drink wine? You don't want to overindulge. It is the beverage of moderation, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's not the beverage of function.
Right.
Tequila is the beverage of function.
Right.
This is really more like dining.
Wine and food. Wine and food. I mean, you're usually eating or getting ready to eat a great meal, and wine enhances that experience.
That's going to be the big challenge, because you do have new generation that's out there that they're looking for the experience, and it may not have to do with just food. So how do I enjoy wine when it's not even food-based? Our generation is like, wine and food, wine and food. I'd rather pair it with music or with people or with other experiences that are out there. I think we need to expand our horizons beyond wine and food.
Well, you got like Bottle Rock that's coming up in a few weeks, and so music and wine and that whole experience.
Very social.
And it's going to be a different experience for a younger generation.
Exactly.
They're going to want to make their own traditions involving wine. Right?
Yeah, no, there's no question about it. And that's actually, Bottle Rock is a great example of you got a ton of wineries that are out there, and they're part of the experience. There's a great food experience that's going on at Bottle Rock, but the wine experience is really pairing the wine with all of the music that's going on and all the other activities that are going on at a concert. So you're bringing the wine to the people in an area that they enjoy to have for their life, as opposed to forcing them to go to a winery or go to someplace else.
Right, exactly. Well, Jed, I want to thank you so much for taking some time with us today. And, you've been in this industry over 40 years, and so you can kind of see the future a little bit.
Yeah, well, I can certainly see the past. I hope I can see the future, yeah.
And thanks so much for taking time with us today.
Thanks, Rex. I like your sunglasses.
Yeah, and your sunglasses too. It's a little bright out here, so we had to wear sunglasses. Thanks so much. It's Rex on the Road, and we'll catch you next time.